What's up, everybody? So it has officially been 9 months since we've been homeless. Um, I believe. I believe we went homeless on September 20th of last year, around about. It could have been the 21st or whatever, but it's about that time. And today's the 20th of June. So yeah, so 9 months, 270 days that we've been homeless. Some of that time, a couple days we slept in the car. Uh-oh, I don't want to. About a month, we're sleeping in my cousin's garage, which still technically homeless, I would say. I mean, it's not our home, plus we're in a garage, whatever. Anyhow, and then of course the majority of the time we've been in a hotel, um, just whatever. So it's been 9 months, 270 days, a lot of ups and downs. You know, good spurts of people like really helping us, whether with money or with food, or people literally getting us a hotel for a night. We even had one instance. I don't think I think I forgot to tell you. There was one night an actual sheriff got us a hotel room. We were begging for money on kind of in front of a grocery store, and a sheriff from around these parts, he stopped and he kind of like talked to us. And I guess they have some program where I guess every now and again they could buy you, through the city, they could get you a hotel room. So yeah, he actually got us a hotel room for the night. So yeah, there's been spurts of kindness and good things, and of course really bad things during that time, because I had a job. I had a cold. Still have this stupid cold. Yeah, as I told you guys, I was working at Dickie's Barbecue in Hesperia. I forget how long I worked there, but I was working there while homeless, and I eventually got laid off from there. And then my car was messed up the whole time, but eventually broke down completely, and so we had no car, no job, no house. And ever since then, it's kind of when it's been the really bad stuff. One of the worst nights was when we did have to sleep in the car, and it was really cold. This one, we were in Hesperia, and my son, he's autistic. He doesn't know how to cover himself up, so his legs weren't covered up through the night. And in the morning, his legs were just like frozen. He could have literally lost his legs. That was really go play, son. You want to go play? We're at Burger King again. That was just a really low point. Really low point. Literally, my son could have lost legs. He could have got not hypothermia. What do they call it? Is it hypothermia? Whatever. When a part of your body is really cold, like frostbite, he could have got like frostbite, and he could have lost his leg. It was really bad. That was really bad. That really was like an eye opener. And that was like at the point, it was like, no, I'm not allowing my son to live on the streets anymore. Well, it was in the car. We were sleeping in the car at that time. And that's why Beck and I do go out every day and beg and hold a sign. It's like we absolutely refuse to allow him to sleep on the street as much. We're trying to prevent it as much as possible. We try really, really hard. We beg, I've there's been times where me or Becca, we stood out in the cold, in the rain, in the snow, in the cold wind, in the very hot sun, Oh yeah, there was times, making sure, like in the cold days, we always made sure Nano was inside. Either let him go inside a store, or if we had a hotel, be like, okay, he stays in a hotel. Me or Becca will go out and beg, and we just endure the cold. So there's been times it's just been extremely cold, and either of us are standing out there. So yeah, so there's been really, really low points during this too. Like I said, losing my job, losing a car. And then, like I said, my son, but just I don't even like saying the words, but he came so close to potentially losing. He could have lost his legs or something from frostbite. There's been very, very low points, and then since we've been here, crazy Washington, people just decide to shout at us for whatever reason, and it's not even just to get a job. Like I told you guys, one guy, we were just walking across the street. And the guy was like, oh, fuck you and your kid, and this and that. It's like, really? You involve my kid in it? You could hate me all you want because I'm homeless, because I'm a loser, whatever. But throwing obscenities or any kind of hate at my son. It's like any kid, especially like I said, my son's autistic. He's disabled. You're literally throwing obscenities at a disabled child, but any child, it's wrong. So we've dealt with that, but then there's really good people here too that have helped us out too. It's just a wild roller coaster of events in these past 9 months. Wild, just really a lot of just up and downs. But of course, this roller coaster ride, if you will, it's not over. 9 months on this crazy roller coaster, and it's not over. There's no end in sight. No hopes of a job, no hopes of getting a place. Me personally, my credit is tanking because my account still sits at negative $250, and it's like, even when we get money, like someone say, oh, here you go, here's $20, or someone, one of you guys have gave me $50 before, right? But we need to use that money for hotel, for food, for diapers, for Nano, for whatever. I can't just take the $50, because if I take $50 right now and I put it in my bank account, it's just gone. Yeah, my account is less negative. It went from negative 250 to 200, negative 200, but I can't use my account, so that money's just gone. So I can't even pay down my debts, and so my credit is, I know behind the scenes my credit is tanking as we speak, and it's like, well, what do you care about your credit? Well, you need credit in order to get an apartment or a house or something like that. And so it's just this really just wild roller coaster of ups and downs. And it's every day. People are like, oh, well, at least you're in a hotel. Yeah, we're in a hotel because we beg every day. It's not like anyone's giving out free hotel rooms. The hotels aren't giving out free rooms. You have to pay. Regardless of if we get money from falling from the sky or from someone gives it to us, someone buys a room, we have to pay for it somehow. And so the opposite of that is if we don't pay, we're out on the streets. Okay? And so it's just this constant daily stress. And then people are like, okay, well, what about the shelter? Oh, you don't want to go to a shelter because you don't want to obey the rules. No, that's not true. Becca and I are more than willing to obey the rules. But Nano, on the other hand, doesn't understand how to obey rules. You guys got to understand, we've been in a homeless shelter before. We've been homeless before. We were in a homeless shelter in Utah. And they have rules. They have rules in homeless shelters, and Nano does not know how to obey those rules. Nano doesn't know how to be quiet at 9 o'clock. He doesn't know whatever rules they have. You hear him. He's quiet right now because he's playing in the jungle gym thing. But you hear him almost every time I make a video. You hear him in the background. He's loud, and people are going to be like, "Hey, you need to quiet down your kid." Matter of fact, when we were in that homeless shelter in Utah, there was one night I remember he was being loud, just doing his autistic noises, and the staff came up to us and be like, "Hey, we have this little quiet room over here." So we had to take him in this little room. And basically, they're like, take your kid in the room and shut him up, is what they're saying, because there's rules. But like I said, Becca and I, we know how to obey rules. We know how to be quiet. Hey, it's time for bed. Whatever it is, we understand that, but Nano doesn't. And so that's like one of the main reasons. That's one of the main reasons why we don't go to a shelter, because it's not that Becca and I can't obey the rules. It's because Nano can't. And we don't want to get in a situation... Because it happens. You're in a homeless shelter. You're in close quarters. Someone's going to complain about him making noise. Plus, remember, Nano still poops in his pants. People are going to smell that. Oh, that's disgusting, And then also, there's deranged, dangerous people. You know how it is. Yeah, you know the stats. A lot of homeless people do drugs. We've seen it personally in that homeless shelter in Utah we're in. We see it on the streets. You can look up the stats yourself. A lot of homeless people do drugs. And so they're not in the right state of mind. So it's not safe on top of everything else. And then, one of the other main reasons we don't go to the homeless shelter is because here, they split you up to male and female. So Becca and Nano would have to go to one homeless shelter, and I'd have to go to the other one. So all the problems that I'm telling you about, Becca would have to deal with herself. Watching Nano 24/7, trying to make sure and none of those deranged women try to put their hands on Nano or whatever. Trying to make sure Nano abides by the rules as much as she can, because he wants to run sometimes, and they might be like, no, you need to stay in your bunk at this time. He does not understand that, right? I mean, we even had an instance there at the homeless shelter in Utah we have a bunk area. It was 4 bunks, and we had like bunkmates. There's two. They turned out to be really cool people. They're a younger couple, right? And Beck was there with Nano. I think I was at work or something because I was doing pizza delivery at the time. And this like deranged old man, he was in a wheelchair, and he just rolled his wheelchair in our bunk area, and just like napped out, just like nodded out, just so creepy. Just like imagine, I mean, that's like your house, that's your living space, and he just rolled in there with his wheelchair, and it's like I think he just stared at it for a little bit, and then just knocked out. And then Beck was like, "Hey, this dude just rolled in there," and they're like, they just shrugged, "Oh, he's just confused or whatever." But just crazy deranged people. You see homeless people, like I said, you see the stats. You could look online the stats of the homeless people that do drugs, and I could not be there to help Becca protect herself and to protect Nano. That's one of my jobs as a man, as Becca's boyfriend, as Nano's dad, is to protect them. And I can't do that if I'm a mile down the road or several miles down the road in some other homeless shelter. There's not a damn thing I could do. So anyhow, I'm not going to get into this whole thing of why we don't go to the homeless shelter, but those are two of the main reasons why we don't go to a homeless shelter. Splitting us up, and then like I said, just Nano, he's autistic. People don't seem to understand. My child is disabled. He doesn't understand things like your average child does. Okay. But anyhow, so we're in this situation every day. We beg for money, just trying to hit that number, like today or tomorrow. The hotel's $95, $94, or whatever it is, and that's the number. And that's the cheapest around. Some are $100, $115. I mean, hotels go up to over $200, but the cheapest in the land out here, $95 tomorrow. And so we got to hit that number. And then we also need food. All three of us have to eat. And Nano has a special diet. I've told you guys he can't eat soy and dairy. So it's not like I could just go to Little Caesars and get $6, $7 pizza, pepperoni pizza, and then we can all eat it. No, Nano can't eat that, And so it's this challenge of we have to spend more money to get food because he can only eat certain things, and and that in itself is another irony too, because sometimes people do give us food and he can't eat it. Like sometimes people give us a bag of cheeseburgers and we're thankful Beck and I can eat it, but it's like, okay, now we need to find something for Nano. And we don't want to be like, oh, hey, thanks, but hey, can you get us a hamburger without cheese? Someone's giving you free food. You can't sit there and try to ask for more or different stuff. They're gonna be like, oh, I'm giving you this free stuff, and now you're asking for all these special requests. So we take the food they give us, but we still have to buy food for him, whatever it is, And then of course we don't want to just give him anything. We're still trying to raise a healthy child, and so every day we try to make sure he has fruit, at least one fruit. Vegetable, and make sure he has some meat, whether it's from a hamburger or from whatever, what I'm saying. And so healthy food is more expensive. Not like we just give him this cheap like lunch meat or something every day. I want to have a healthy child. I want his health to be affected from all this, on top of his mental health being affected every day. So anyhow, without getting into specifics of everything, it's just the point is that this is just a crazy roller coaster of us every day just trying to get money. And then right now in this area, it's the migrant season. We found out, that's what Beck and I found out, a bunch of migrants come here and they do, I don't know, whatever field work or whatever they do, but they get hotels. So they take up all the hotels, the cheap ones specifically. And so that's problem A, that like in the Motel 6 we're at, sometimes like every day we're just trying to say, oh, hopefully there's a cancellation. Like yesterday there's a cancellation. Okay, we'll get that one, but we're hoping that there's at least one cancellation so we can get a room. And then the second problem is because they're getting all these rooms, it makes the prices go up, And so I think on Friday it's going to be like $140, $150 for one freaking room for one night. And it's like, we can't afford that. We can't. How are we going to even beg for that amount of money, And so, but we've come to the point, Beck and I just be like, you know what? Don't worry about the future. Really. Don't worry about tomorrow. We worry about today. We just try to get through today as far as food and having somewhere to sleep for tonight, that night. And, obviously making sure Nano's safe. And people don't understand the whole spectrum of things that go into keeping Nano safe. It's like I don't think people understand when I say the words, my son is mentally disabled. He's autistic. He has a disability. He doesn't understand. He does not understand about the cars in the street will run over him and hurt him and kill him. He doesn't understand about look both ways before you cross the street. He doesn't understand about stranger danger. Sometimes on the bus he'll go sit next to a random person. Sometimes he'll put his hand on them, whatever. He does not understand. And so it is a constant thing of trying to protect him. It's like, oh no, Nano, hey, don't touch that person, or Nano, you can't run into the street. Sometimes he gets mad and he'll just want to like throw his bottle into the street, or he'll just want to try to dart into the street. There was a case where he came like within an inch of running into the street, into the traffic, and Beck and I are trying to carry stuff and trying to prevent him from going to the street. Just insane level of just trying to keep him safe. And then of course, like I said, because he goes poop in his pants, we have to make sure he stays clean as far as that goes. I think people are going to come in the play center, so I'm going to wrap this video up. But anyhow, so just this absolute roller coaster. There's been good and bad points. Like I said, there's been people who've been extremely nice to us, extremely helpful to us, praying with us. Hey, do you need any, like asking Becca, hey, do you need any female like hygiene products, or do you guys want some water? Something as simple as, hey, do you guys want a couple of bottles of water? Or just some very simple stuff, or giving us money, whatever. People have been very kind to us. And then, like I said, on the opposite end of the spectrum, people yelling at us, literally cursing at me and my child, F you and your kid. And, like I said, going from sleeping, my cousin's garage to a car, and just and then, I have this cold, and I know I'm not kicking it because I don't get proper nutrition myself. Because both Beck and I, our first goal is basically Nano eats first. Nano eats the best. And so if we have like only X amount of money, it's like, okay, well, we need to make sure he gets his fruit, he gets his vegetable, he gets his meat, pretty much, right? And basically whatever's left over after making sure he gets his, stuff, then it's like, okay, do we have money left over for us? Well, we don't always. So he might have breakfast. But like this morning, Beck and I think she had a little bit of cereal, and I had a bag of chips that someone gave us, a little bag of Cheetos that someone gave us, and what else did I eat, Becca? A little bag of Cheetos and
one piece of bacon, just like
yeah, we had one piece of bacon. We bought some microwave bacon from Walmart or whatever, and Nano had the majority, because that's the rule. Nano eats the majority. Did you even have any?
I had one piece.
Yeah, so Nano had the majority of it. It's like, I don't know, 12 pieces or whatever in a pack. Nano had the majority of it.
I think he had 9.
Or 9. And then Becca had one piece of bacon, and I had one piece of bacon. And and then I had the one bag of chips. And then right now, someone actually bought us some hamburgers and fries from Burger King, and so we're eating that, and you get free water from Burger King, so we get free water. And so yeah, so it's just that's it. So that's what's going on. And I'm not trying to complain. I'm not trying to blame everybody. I mean, I could take all the blame. Trust me. You think I don't think about all my life decisions? I mean, I've made decisions. I mean, I got locked up for 6 years. That was stupid. And a lot of my life is bad because of that. Because you could always shoulda, woulda, coulda. Of course, I shoulda. I didn't even graduate high school at the time. I ended up getting my GED, but of course, I should have graduated high school, went to college, got a good job. Of course. It's like, well, people say you should have done this, that. Well, of course, I know that. Okay, I get that, And so, yeah, it's my fault, I should have done this different. I should have done that different. I should have, whatever. I should have maybe took better care of my car so it didn't break down, whatever it is. Anyhow, people are coming in. I'm going to go. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next video. Still recording?